They say 7 heads together is stronger than one. Making plays, open J's, and the open run. If we talking about breaks and shooters filling lanes, all my dogs is down for war. You can tell how they train. Coaches coaching players play, but they learn from each other. If the roles are reversed, Jason Kidd, we assist one another. Making strides for a ship in the regular season, lacing up these nights, a band of brothers turning into some demons. Through the season, spring to fall, we gon' see who is working. When the winter hit the surface, gon' see who deserve it. Left competition in the dust, now the opposite deserted. Only lions in my circle, we hungry for purpose. Nothing's given, all these stripes, you can see that I earned them. Can't fuck the system, take the knowledge and study and learn it. We as strong as said the weakest, 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to trap me, saw it now, you know I had to thread the needle. You know I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins ear. Yeah, you know I had to thread the needle, try erase.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Coaches Show. We have a special guest here today, Bauknight, representing Board 134 in PG County and Board 12 in Montgomery County and Howard County, Board 23 in Anne Arundel County and Baltimore. Aaron, what's going on, Aaron? How you doing?
I'm pretty good, man. How you guys doing?
It's all right. Going all well, man. It's glad to actually have you in here. Just making sure that we ask the question that we think that people should know. You know, just getting right to it with the dry erase board panel. Everyone you pretty much familiar with. Just making sure you ready for the day.
I hope so. You know, I got 6 coaches on the sideline right now.
yeah, that's unforeseen territory, right? It's all good. All right, so we're going to hop into the first question, man. So tell us a little bit about how did you get started wanting to be an official, and what's the qualifications for that?
When I first moved to the DMV area about 14 years ago, I was pretty much struggling trying to get my way around. I was only 24, 25 years old, and I went and played some pickup ball. And a guy approached me, he said, "Hey, man, you want to make some extra money?" You know, you've heard that saying a million times before. So I said, "Sure." So he took me on over to the gym. He told me what time to be there. He said, "Are you going to be there?" I said, "Yeah, sure." I just finished playing pickup. So I went on over. About a couple of days later, I got into it a little bit. They sent me to the gym at the Boys and Girls Club in Manassas. The first time I was out there, they asked me how long had I been doing it. After that, it's pretty much been a wrap. I tried out my first year in high school. They gave me freshman JV and varsity in Northern Virginia. Then I came to Maryland, then I came to 134, and I've been here ever since. And I just got better and better and better. I got better as the talent got better too. Let me say that too. I will say that because in Northern Virginia, they're decent. When you come over to the DC, Maryland area, you better put your shoes on and lace them up.
Yeah.
I would say that for sure. The easiest way to get into officiating, not just in basketball, but any sport, just talk to any official that's out there. They will talk to you, trust me. There's a scarcity of officials. So they're going to ask you, they're going to want the help. So just ask any official, any sport that you're out there, say, "Hey, I want to get involved," and trust me, they will point you in the direction of their commission.
I would thank you so much for that information, because I know myself, being an official is one of the things that I thought about doing until I actually put on the hat and did it for a rec league game, and it was probably the worst experience of my life, making sure I stay on point. So we definitely understand how difficult the task is. So I'm gonna pass you on to our next panel, Coach Des Wade from Blake High School.
Okay.
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man. What's going on?
Man, appreciate you coming on the show, man. I'm gonna hop right into it, man. From your experiences, from reffing, do you guys manage games such as like know who the best players are, understanding like foul count?
I would say from a college perspective, that's one of the key points that you want to go into your pregame with. You know, before any game, you always pregame at least a good 15 to 20 minutes. In high school, most of the time, we knew who the better players are. And we don't have the opportunity to get statistics. The only thing that we can get is player of the week if we're out there looking. You know, we don't necessarily have the data in front of us. There's not a newsletter or scorecard, which I think that the HUDO should implement into the schools so that we can get some sort of a pregame list, you know, before we go, you know, they're shooting 50% from the three. They're 80% free throw shooters. Things like that let you know as an official how teams play ball and what you need to look for. When it comes to fouls, we're not going to say we try to protect the best players, but we know if a player is going to foul out, about to foul out the game, it better be a good foul. It can't be anything touchy or barely, or we haven't called all game. So in that respect, we don't have enough information to know who and what is, but, you know, that's one thing that for next year, I think that we should implement into the schools so that we can have some sort of literature or data on the players.
So heard a key thing in there. You said it does, in a way, you said you kind of look at the foul count. So it does weigh on how you will officiate that game for the better, you know, for the better players. Like you said, it got to be a good foul, like kind of blatant. Is that something that you guys go over with each other, like in your training?
When we look at the foul count, you know, one thing that I do, I always look at the foul count, especially for the away team. I try to protect the away team as much as possible because, you know, the referees, we're always cheaters. You know, we're cheaters, we're always the bad guys. So I try to make sure I look at the foul count. If it's 5-0, I'm looking for something. I'm looking for a handshake. I'm looking for a tap or two hands or, you know, something so I can get that foul count back to where it needs to be. Plus, once you start calling some fouls, teams slow down. The kids listen to their coaches. They run the plays like they're supposed to. It makes my job easier if we're calling it the way that we're supposed to be calling it. The only difficult thing is sometimes when you're working with people that you've never worked with before and they're calling a certain way and you're calling it something else, everybody's confused.
And I appreciate the last point because I got a follow-up question that's going to happen a little later that's going to talk about that last point you made. But we're going to keep it going and pass it to my guy, Coach Will Maynard from Southern High School.
And what's up, man?
What's going on, Will?
How's everything?
How are you?
You know, we miss you in our league this year.
You know, I miss me in y'all league too.
Yeah, we definitely missed you out there, man. It's good to have an official out there that will talk to you. You know, there's a lot of officials out there, not just in, you know, in our league, but, you know, high school, college. You know, they don't want to talk to you and explain stuff, but we appreciate you keeping it real with us. You know what I mean? Like I told you before, I mean, I like it when an official tell me I'm not calling that tonight. So that's just one less thing I can whine about. So, I appreciate your honesty as far as, you know, when you officiated our games. So my question to you is, do you think that some officials ref the game based on the expected results? Because I've heard a lot of coaches of teams that might be a middle-of-the-road team, if they play like one of the better teams in that league, they feel like the officials feel like, okay, if this top 10 team in the post is losing to a team that's, you know, 500, they feel like, you know, something wrong. And then all of a sudden it's like that same feel that those, in those bye team games, you know, if somebody like Towson goes up against Maryland and they're winning it's a tie ball game at the 10-minute mark, you know, all of a sudden it's a lot of calls going up against Towson. So what's your opinion about that?
Whew. You know, as an official, we criticize other officials not to get out there and do it ourselves. When I see games like that, I'm starting to see them more frequently than I'd like to. Especially, like you say, in the games where the team that's maybe 5-7 is going against a better team with Roosevelt's that's 10-1, and Roosevelt's at home. You know, you start to see the game change a little bit. It's happened in one of my games before, and I was just watching, and you just look at the entire gym, and there's nothing that you can really do about it. The only thing that that we can correct are correctable errors, and all those have to do with free throws. Everything else is human error. Now, I'm not going to make any excuse for anybody because I have seen some officials turn the game around. I have seen the game completely change based off some calls. I've seen it. I've seen it in some black versus white situation. I just say it like that. Yeah, I've seen black school and white school, and I see some officials on the floor, and I see it change, and it's just, I put it like this: it's just like anything else in life. Do you have people at your regular job that act like that? And if the answer is yes, then you're going to have an official that's going to act like that too.
So you kind of answered my follow-up question, because I was going to ask you, you know, what would you do if you're in a situation like that? You know, if you know that you have an official, maybe two officials, you know, if you're on a 3-man crew, just kind of like you can tell that they're kind of, you know, messing with the game and not sticking to their integrity.
What I do is at that point in time, you know, during the pregame, that's why it's so important for us officials to pregame, because during the pregame, you talk about those issues. You talk about what levels you are in your career. How many years have you been doing? Are you JV? Are you varsity? Are you Division III men? Are you Division I women? You know, whatever the case may be. So you can kind of get a feel of how they're going to call the game. And then you know exactly when, hey, you know what? This is a 3-year guy here. Especially in your league. I got a 3-year guy and I got a 4-year guy. And I'm a 9-year guy. And I'm not the crew chief on the game. And I'm listening to him and I'm going out there. I'm saying, okay, when those things like that start to happen, I take over the game. I do. Because at this point in my career, what am I doing out there then, Will? You know what I mean?
Good point.
What am I doing out there at this point in my career? If I know that call out there may be suspect and it's in your area, it's going to be suspect, I'm going to blow that whistle so fast and get it right.
Yeah, I feel like I've been in situations like that too, where, you know, where an official might have felt the game wasn't being called right, and then they stepped up to try to, you know, even it up or make it a fair game.
You know, like I said, at this point in my career, I began to do things like that. I would because it takes the pressure off us as an official. When I go out there and I get some of those fouls, or, you know, I straighten some things in the game, it gives the coaches and the kids an opportunity to say, you know what, we have hope. We do have a chance to win this game. But when you could constantly go, allow it to happen now, then where does my credibility go?
Yeah, good point. I appreciate that answer and you elaborating on that. Then I'm going to pass it along to Tobias Jennifer of Huntown High School.
What's going on, Aaron? How's everything?
Pretty good, sir. How you doing, man? Congratulations on your coaching job. You did an excellent job the last couple of years.
I appreciate it, man. I really do. You know, I've never had you as a referee in our league. I mean, I'd love to see you come down to the SMAC and you know, referee one of our games, because I've heard such good things about you, and you know, Chuck funny. But, you know, I'm very proud of what you've been able to do throughout your career. So, you know, we've connected and have talked a few times, and we've built a relationship outside of basketball a little bit, you know, seeing each other up at Maryland for the state championships and, you know, outside of basketball. And, you know, as a coach, I'm big on relationships. I'm big on relationships with my players, my parents, even, you know, my coaching staff, you know, coach to coach, and with other referees. You know, we all understand the importance of relationships in the game of basketball, how vital they are. So my question to you is, can you speak on the notion that, you know, some referees may have vendettas against coaches or players prior to the game, or this, that, or the other?
Well, I'm going to play a little devil's advocate with you. Do you have any?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. I really am going to be honest with you. I say no because I really want to think that, you know, the referee has the intentions of refereeing a really, really good game and being fair all the way around. But I will, on the flip side, say this. I've encountered a couple referees in just this past year where I felt like they had it out for me. Now, I'm not saying all referees, I go into a game and saying a referee has it out for me. I'm not saying that, or my players. But, you know, there was a game or two where I kept thinking to myself, and I'm hearing you know, the conversation you had with Will about calls, and I'm thinking to myself, ain't no way, you know, this call should be made in this, this type of game or this time of the game or whatever the case may be. And there were referees like yourself, and I'm not going to say any names, but there was a referee who thinks the same way that you do, has the same ideology, who brought all of the referees together at the table along with the coaches to say, we got to get this right. Because there's no reason why this should be going on. My question to you, once again, is do you think there are, do you think there may be a referee, or can you speak on it? Or can you, speak on the notion of that and just, clear the air for everybody?
I think the word that I can come up with to answer this question would be reputation. What reputation do you have as a coach? Now, as officials, I know pretty much the coaches in PG County. I know how they are. I know how they're going to respond. I know how they're going to react to me because I have that relationship.
Yeah.
People, period. I'm respectful. Now, if you have that reputation that you're respectful and officials can get along, then you'll be fine. I will tell you like this right here. And this will go for everybody. From this day forward, when the officials enter the gym, what reputation are you setting for yourself so that you can have a good relationship? When we come in, are we going to the locker room? I don't care where we're going. Is it clean?
Yeah.
Is the locker room clean? Do I know who my game management is? If it's not the head coach, do I know who it is? Maybe you don't necessarily have to have water or anything like that. During the game, how was your bench personnel? Or how are your assistant coaches responding to the officials? How are the kids playing? How's the table crew? When you get all of your housekeeping issues come in, you create a good reputation for yourself. So when I come in, all I have to do is referee. I don't have to worry about the uniforms. I don't have to worry about them talking. The coach ain't said nothing to me. Okay, so now the light is on me because you know what? This coach has this school ready to play the game of basketball.
Absolutely.
My job is to come in here and officiate this game the best that I can. And when you do those things, you create it for yourself. Now, do I think that some coaches have it out and some officials have it out? I think so. Sometimes, and what happens sometimes, they'll decline the game. And I've heard officials say, I'm not going over there. I'm not going over there. And I wish Angelo was here because he's the one I want to say with this question. I talk about this with, because a lot of them say they don't want to go over there because of the reputation that he's always right on the wrong road. You know what I'm saying? Angelo, when he has a gripe, he is always right. And I'm saying 98% of the time he is on it, but some things you got to let go. So whatever dialogue you have with coaches, with the officials, just make sure it's clean as you can get it. Try not to use any foul words. Don't kiss up to them. Don't butter up to them. Don't tell them you got no water. Don't tell them you got gas. Don't tell them nothing like that. They came here to ref basketball and go home. That's it. So to answer your question is, what reputation do you have for your school when the officials enter in there so that they can have a good relationship with you?
Absolutely. I appreciate that answer, man. I can only speak on Huntingtown that, you definitely want to make sure you take care of those guys and you're doing it the right way. You want to have a good reputation at your school. So I appreciate your answer. Like I said, I appreciate getting you on here today. Hopefully, I know you're a pretty busy man and you're all around the state, but at some point, if you could ever get down to Southern Maryland, that'd be greatly appreciated. And, I'm going to pass it on to Coach Championship Chuck Henry.
Aaron, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Chuck?
Oh, man, I'll be the first one to say that when I see you walk into my gym, I know what kind of night it's going to be. And I know it's going to be a fair night. So I'm that guy that I always love seeing you coming down the hallway, man.
Man, vice versa, man. Chuck, I love to come to your gym, man. I know, look, I'm going to get a good spec coming over there because I swear Chuck have 6 of them out there, man.
Hey, man, I'll tell you this. And you're one of the first people that really talked to me about reputation. And that was something that kind of resonated with me. And I think the last couple of years I've become a better coach just from knowing you and getting an opportunity to talk to you. That's somewhere where I've definitely grown. I'm still kind of a hothead, but I'm working on it. But I guess my question to you, and I've kind of, given you my question. When it comes down to those 7 items, what do you think is how would you rank them in terms of easiest to hardest? And I'll run down the list for you again, just so you have it. All right. So 1, player. 2, coach. 3, the referee. 4, parent. 5, teacher. 6, trainer. 7, AAU coach. And really, when we talking about student athletes, those are the people that are really instrumental in terms of dictating how a kid's career will go. Would you agree with me?
100%.
All right, so here we go. I'm putting you in a hot seat right here.
Oh my God.
Who's least important in that group?
The trainer is the least important.
Okay.
Yeah, the trainer is the least important, according to this, because the trainer doesn't really play. They have, based on your question, they have no saying whether they're going to go to the next level. The only thing the trainer can do is tell them they can play or they can't play.
All right, cool. Trainer number 7. Who's number? Trainer's number 7. Who's number 6 and least important?
I would have to say the AAU coach.
Okay.
Because the AAU coach is extracurricular activity, and that's extracurricular to the extracurricular activity.
Okay.
I understand that the AAU coach can get some kids in high school that are not necessarily on the team. I get that. But when it comes to the overall development, that AAU coach, sometimes you're going to get some good ones, and sometimes you're not.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and I think no matter what, when it comes down to the AAU coach and the trainer, really that's just trying to put them on the path to self, really worrying about themselves and taking care of themselves and their own skill level.
All right.
All right. So who's next?
The referee. Okay. People think our job is really, really difficult. It's the same 10 rules, man. Year it's the same 10 rules. You're right or you're not. We have no bearing on what your kid gonna do out there.
Gotcha.
They're gonna get the scholarship, they're gonna get it.
Facts. I mean, honestly, I think the only person standing between a kid, a player, and the scholarship most times is the player. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So in this high school game, who's next? So right now we got trainer at the bottom, AAU coach right above, referee above that. Who's next?
Finish your coach.
Say that again.
The coach.
Coach? Okay. High school coach now.
Yep. This is your high school coach. Yep. Because you're going to go to your coach when you have some issues. Your coach is the one that's not necessarily going to put you into college, but they're going to propel your game so where you can be prepared to play into college.
Gotcha. Okay.
I've been a head coach before in basketball, so I know how much power and control that coach does. But it's going to take me to the next one. As a coach, the best coaches are the best teachers.
Gotcha. Okay. So coach and teacher, we're going to put at 3 each. We're going to kind of split that one.
All right.
Okay.
Then after that, I'm going to have to go to the player. Because this is, this is the player. This is all individual. You have all these people in your corner. You have all these obstacles to overcome. It's on you. But the hardest person is the parent.
Okay.
The parent starts the process. The parent gives you the child.
Gotcha. So parents most important.
Yeah, they have the development at home. If they don't train their child the way they're supposed to go, you ain't even gonna get them, Chuck.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And and then the parent they're molding that child. They're creating the culture within that child. So when they send them to school, not only do they have a sport, but you have more than just a sport. You have a relationship.
Okay.
That is because of the parent, and the parent allows it to happen in the beginning. So it really starts with the parent, then the player.
Okay.
I'm going to go back in that order.
Awesome.
Whew.
Okay.
Chuck, that's tough, man.
Nah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where it's important to know where the kind of the where you can see where a kid might go wrong in the process. And I think if people understand what that process looks like, then it's easy to kind of go back into the process and actually plug the holes where you need to plug them in.
Absolutely. I mean, because let's think about it. When it comes to signing day, who's allowed on signing day?
Yeah. Good
The
point.
Player.
Good point. Good point. All right, well, man, I appreciate your time, man. Like I said, I always appreciate when I see you walking in the gym, because we know we're gonna get a fair game at that point. Win, lose, or draw. Really not coaching for wins. What we're most importantly looking for is, just a fair opportunity for these kids to put their skills on showcase. Man, appreciate you. So I'm gonna pass it over to Coach O, my man over at Bladensburg High School.
Okay.
Hey, good follow-up questions there, Chuck, man. Like we said, we asked the questions that we think that the people should know. And a lot of times the word that we're going to be probably using a lot is transparency. So being on the same page, man, it will make the game much easier. I'm a firm believer if you're on the same page as an adult and as in a leadership role, we can all make this thing as smooth as possible. But when you have, like Tobias was referencing to vendettas or message that you might have got from somebody else about a coach or how he coaches or how he does things like that, you go in there with them perceived notions going in, it makes the game very difficult. And a new day is a good start to that. So I do definitely appreciate those answers for you. So one of my questions that I get from a lot of people, and I even tell my kids this, we call it first quarter D, second quarter D, third quarter D, and fourth quarter D. And that's defense. What is the difference between a first quarter call and a fourth quarter call, and how do the ref differentiate between the two and beginning of the game?
Oh my God. In the pregame, that's what we talk about, man. The first 2 or 3 minutes of the game. We got to make sure we get that right. We got to be on top of it so that fourth quarter call doesn't happen. Or if it does happen, it happened before. If I'm going to call a hand check or it's a 2-hand foul, or if I'm going to call a reroute, most of the time, those are the calls that you're talking about. It's going to be simple hand checks, 2 hands, or a reroute, or it's going to be something small and simple that we're calling later in the game that we didn't take care of earlier. And we talk about this about officials, so I'm going to be real open about this. If you don't take care of calling that stuff in the beginning of the game, you're going to have a long game. You're going to give coach some texts. You're going to be tired. You're going to get about 4 or 5 technical fouls. That means that you probably showed up to the game late. You know what I'm saying? That means the ref showed up to the game late. The player, the school showed up to the game late. The table's not right. Nothing's going to be right in that game. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. That ain't just that's call. That's everything that happened before that. And so when you get into that, you can't get out of that one because it's been happening all game. As a coach, what I would advise you to do is when you see something like that happening, call timeout. Get your kids over. Settle them down. Don't tell them these things anymore. I don't think that we should tell them, you know how the refs are. Y'all see how things go. Let's get away from that. I think that we should say, you know what? We see how things are going. Let's get back to playing our basketball. Let's get back to putting our hands out and up. Let's get to our spots like we're supposed to. And let's just do what we need to do. Don't worry about the fans. Don't worry about all that booing. People make mistakes. Let's just move to the next thing, because the quicker that you can move to the next thing, the better you're going to be off. If you're sitting there and you're feeding into it, it's never good. So I guess the answer to your question is that call in the first quarter and that call in the fourth quarter, what about all that in between? It's some garbage, ain't it? It's some garbage. You can say, yeah, it is some garbage, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, man, I definitely appreciate that. And like I said, I tell my kids that for that reason, so they won't pick up fouls. And I know a lot of times we get in the habit of, and I see that you said earlier about the foul count, you watching it. And, being told, I'm not sure about any other coaches on the panel, but being told that the foul count that you see on the board, that's window dressing. Don't pay attention, and that ain't got nothing to do with the game. We all know that affects the game, though. So, it is what it is. And like I said, it's transparency. And the easiest thing for somebody to say is somebody's cheating. I hate to use that word cheating, because we're adults, we're in a leadership role. That word should never come up. If that's the case, a person shouldn't even be in that position. That's the way I look at things. So I would never use that word cheating. But I would definitely say, you know, I appreciate your answer on that, and I will look forward to telling my kids that as well. And I would burn a 30-second timeout to tell them so, because I just got it from Ern.
Burn it. It'll be the best thing you did. Trust me. Let me just comment on the foul count.
Okay.
About, if I'm not mistaken, about 4 or 5 years ago, they told us as soon as we hear coaches talk about the foul count, give them a tech. And they were trying to stop it really, really, really hard. And we were told to do this because it was kind of getting out of hand. I can say this about the foul count. You got to think of something creative to say just to make them look at the foul count. You know, what I would do is for the assistant coaches, I would give them a whistle chart. Give one of your assistant coaches a whistle chart, or that kid on the bench that might not play that's real smart, and just chart each of the referee's whistles. And so when you come up to them, say, you know what, 60% of the calls that have been hand check fouls. Now, I see them hand checking, I see us hand checking, but I don't see the foul count the same way. You know what?
I definitely agree with that, and I definitely chop that one down as well. You know.
I like that one.
I like it too. That's why we was eager to get you on. We tried to wait for the end of the week on Friday, because one thing we know about you, and like what Chuck said, you're not the only one though. There are a lot of guys out there that are just like you in this position of officiating, but we know with you personally that you're going to give it to us straightforward. You're not going to cut no corners. You're going to tell us exactly how it is and how to get through it, you know, and that's the biggest thing for us. So I definitely appreciate that. So I'm going to pass you over to Coach Desmond Small, assistant head coach at Washington Vintage University.
What's up, Aaron?
What's going on, Des? How you doing, sir?
All right, so I ain't assistant head coach. I'm just a regular assistant, Joe, by the way. Appreciate you, my guy. Obviously, I've been a part of some games you ref, not at Washington Vintage. Hopefully, we can make that happen. Maybe this year coming up. But my question for you is: obviously, you refed on multiple levels of basketball. What would you say is the difference? Give me two glaring differences between the two. I know you spoke on earlier that obviously y'all have stats and stuff like that to be better prepared for collegiate games. But what would you say is, like, in terms of gameplay, is it harder to make calls, or is it like something different a big difference between high school and collegiate officiating? And then also, what's the difference, since you coached in multiple counties in Maryland or in the area, what's the difference between calling games in Prince George's County, which I know you do majority games, versus like Wills County?
All right, let's go backwards.
Whichever way you want to answer.
I'll go backwards. And Prince George's County has the fastest basketball I've seen in my entire life. And I've been to a couple of different places. I've lived pretty much in 7 states on the East Coast. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to a couple of different places where there's some good basketball. And this place is fast, in my opinion. And you all would probably agree with me. Basketball in the DMV is based out of PG County. If you can beat a PG County team, I think that you're doing pretty good. It's different basketball in PG because it's faster. It's more athleticism. When you go over to Anne Arundel County, they're playing a lot slower basketball. They're not as athletic. Coaches are doing a lot of the job for them, in my opinion, and the kids are listening. Baltimore County, they're a mix between PG and Anne Arundel. When you go to Montgomery County, they are basic basketball players. They are very structured. You can tell the coaching is a little bit different. The reason why I think Montgomery County wins sometimes is because of sometimes when you get to the coaching level. That's it. And it's just a couple things that are different, in my opinion. I think that in PG County and Anne Arundel County, if the coaches knew the rules a little bit better, they would win more games. I would add about 2 or 3 games to your win column if you just knew the rules and coached it to the kids.
Okay.
So when I'm in PG County, I know I got to run. When I'm in Montgomery County, I can take my time a little bit. Howard County, come on, man. You're killing me, Smalls. I'm missing stuff because y'all ain't doing that, man. You 6'6", you getting hung. Come on, bruh. That's easy play. And then also in Howard County and Montgomery County, you only got 2 persons out there for a varsity game. That ain't fair to anybody.
Yeah.
I don't care how good you are as an official. You can't get all that, bro. You can't do that. So you're at a disadvantage. Everyone's at a disadvantage somewhat. When it comes to the college level, it's easier to call college basketball. Man, please. They know how to play. They know when they foul. They know when they haven't fouled. Especially women's basketball. Man, please. That's just a cakewalk. Men's basketball, it's tough out there. They get away with a lot that they're not supposed to. And it's inconsistent some nights.
Facts. Big facts.
Because of the way they're choosing the officials.
You said what?
The way that they are choosing the officials.
Yeah. I agree. All right, I had another follow-up question. Obviously, you refed a lot of games for a lot of the coaches on this panel. Who would you say is the most difficult to deal with while you're officiating that game?
Hello, you go.
Out of the guys that's on the panel, and then you can list your top 3. We'll go with that.
Hold on. You go ahead and I'll love it.
Okay, I'm saying you officiated a lot of games, including myself, whether I was assistant or not, like whatever role. Give me your top 3 most difficult to deal with during the game while you officiating on this panel.
None of y'all.
Oh, come on. Don't be political.
Man, for real, difficult to deal with. At number 3, I would have to say probably Coach O.
Okay.
Because I'm making up stuff. They have probably be Coach, then it go be Coach Will. And it'll be you.
Man, I ain't difficult.
You said I'm number 1? Aaron, I'm number 1?
You so smart. But you got to know how to transfer that information to your head coach and let them have it.
So you say I'm the most difficult, even over John?
John?
Well, I get added to it. Chill.
See, John. John used to work next door to me, so you know what I'm saying. I'm always give John a pass. I never had no problem with John.
Oh man, all right. I can't believe Chuck ain't make the list though. That's shocking though. I'm a little shocked on that. But I'm gonna pass it. I'm gonna pass the question to the next coach.
What's going on, Aaron? It's Coach John.
What's going on, Coach?
Okay. I think you touched on the question I was going to ask. And you talking about selecting officials. A lot of times when coaches go into a game, they walk out and they're like, "Wow, how did I get this officiating crew?" So I want you to just educate, the listeners, this panel, on how coaches go about getting selected for each game, and then how does that translate to getting selected probably for like a county championship game, and then ultimately getting selected to ref in the state championship game. But I really want you to touch on the first part, how are refs selected on a night-to-night basis? Like, how do you know your crew? Like, what's that whole selection process? How does that go?
All right, I'm gonna make sure that this thing is on. Can everybody hear me? Okay. We don't know. We don't know how we're getting games. We don't know how they select officials. The only thing that they tell us is they try to get us somewhere closer to home with our games. You have some independent contractors that work a little bit of everywhere, so they're okay. Me, you get a blessing with me because I live in the middle of the county. I can be anywhere. It doesn't matter to me, But when it comes to that, I don't know. I've asked those questions several times in our referee meetings. I've asked them in different counties. How is the system? How do you assessing officials? What forms are you using? I haven't gotten any answers. How are you all trying to figure out which one's ready for states, which one's not? I don't know. I've been to the States one time on the girls' side, and I got a 1A game, and it was a blowout. I've never had a regional. I've had a girls' regional championship. I had a girls' county championship. I haven't had anything on the boys' side. The first 2 rounds, I've only had the first 2 rounds. That's since I've been officiating, period, in Maryland. So when it comes to selecting the officials, I don't know what they are doing. So this past year, what I did, I sent some letters out, and I asked some questions. And some things got better, I will tell you that. But when it came for the selection committee, man, we don't know, man. We don't know what they're doing up there. And that goes for college too. We don't know. We don't know, man. That, in my opinion, is where the coach's corner needs to come in and start addressing those issues. Now, y'all need to ask him. I don't ask him. All y'all need to get together collectively. Y'all need to ask him. When you go to the coaches meeting, y'all need to ask him what system is in place so that the next officials can come in. And more important, what do you have coming up the ranks? Because I'm going to tell you right now, we ain't got much. The average official is about 44, 46 years old. I haven't seen any new guys out there. Very few new ladies. So I'm going to tell you all right now, you're about to get the same people that you got last year, this year. And if another company comes in and takes it over, you're just going to see me in a different shirt.
Oh, wow.
Y'all got to do it. At this point, y'all got to do it. I need y'all to do it. Because this is why you don't see me in your games. This is why you don't see me in your gym a whole lot. We don't know. They do it.
Man, I appreciate that answer, but I always thought that I kind of like understood it. Like I thought that like if it's a higher level game, you might get more veteran refs, and if it's a lower level game, you might get new refs. I always thought that. I never really had a problem with that. If it was like a better game going on, if I knew 2 high level teams was playing, I was at that game and I seen particular refs, I'm like, okay, these refs are there because of these 2 high level teams are playing, and it might not be those caliber refs at another game. And sometimes it might just be judgmental on the talent level, but I didn't know that y'all don't know.
No, bro. Sometimes we don't know our games in advance like I think that we should. For example, when I was in Wales, one thing why I like officiating Wales County is because I had my schedule through the entire year, straight up. From in late November, I had my schedule for the rest of the regular season. When I came to PG, I had to wait about 2 weeks, or wait till the Friday before. You go to Montgomery County, you go to board 12, you might get them 2 weeks out, you might get them 3 weeks out. Sometimes when you're going to get some officials, when you all wonder, how did I get this guy? How did I get this girl? Somebody got hurt. Somebody got a car accident. Somebody can't make it. The child's sick. Somebody got a broken arm. It's always something. So sometimes if you ever see me at your game and I'm watching, I'm off that night. That's it. Other than that, man, we don't really have a whole bunch of veterans coming behind us. We are working with scarcity real bad. And I mean real bad.
I definitely appreciate that. I'm going to pass it on to Coach Desmond Wade. He has a follow-up question. So, go ahead, pass it to Coach Wade.
Hey, got one more good one for you. We've been getting it on the coaching side. There's been a lot of controversy or just a lot of talk surrounding the officials and the playoffs. Do you think there should be like neutral refs for the playoff games, whether it be Sweet 16 or Elite 8? And then how would that look if you do think so, and would it impact the games? Whether mixing the refs from PG, MOCO, like how would that look? Just give us some feedback, man.
First, I don't appreciate how they did the final 8. Was it the final 8? And then that's when they mixed up the numbers 1 through 8 and everything like that.
Yeah, after the region.
That's the part where I don't appreciate, because if you're gonna mix up the region like that and you're gonna make people play in other places, you need some officials in some other places too. Because the way the playoff system works is when you're in your home, when you win, you play at home. You get the officials from your area. So since you were your district, I think you were district champions, I think y'all won your district, am I correct?
we were district champs. Springbrook ended up winning the region, and they played, and Blade won their region, and they ended up facing off against each other at Springbrook.
Okay, so that game at Springbrook, all those games should be at neutral spots. And I think that you should probably have them just like the state semifinals and everything, because all 8 games are right there. You got all of them right there. You got 8 games, 4 games, something like that. Put them at a neutral site. Put them at Maryland again. Go ahead and get them used to playing on that larger court. You know what I mean? You got, instead of 2 games, give them 3 out there. And I think that you should bring in different officials. If you're going to have Springbrook and Bladensburg, I need one from Montgomery County. I'm going to need one from Prince George's County. And I'm going to need a neutral ref. Now, that neutral ref, in my opinion, should be a tweener or a college ref. Somebody that's still doing high school that's also doing college. Because those 3 right there, that's going to be a good crew for you.
And that's so what you're saying is you do think it would impact the game in some type of way?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I know the style that Bladensburg plays. Jennifer knows the style that Blake plays. The other official just knows what they're doing. They don't care. It shouldn't matter. So therefore, when all 3 of us get together and then we have the pregame and we talk about this, this is what, you know, we would get it right, in my opinion, if you did it that way. You got to have somebody from everywhere, because when I go into other counties and I see PG go into other counties and I watch them lose games, it ain't always the kids.
Man, definitely appreciate it, man. Because I mean, as coaches, we kind of kick it back and forth, and we say, man, refs don't really determine games, and you know, just all these different styles. But then we like, man, if you get these different refs, it's going to be officiated in different ways. We don't know if it's all the rules are held to the same standard across the board. So that would be another mix-up. So it's just a lot that goes into that question. So I definitely appreciate you giving us some feedback for it, man.
That's another thing, Coach. That's another thing that I need you all to do as coaches. Y'all have to speak up. Y'all collectively have to get together and say, you know what, we think this is going to be better for the game, because y'all have the voice. And, you know, most of the time the coaches, when you get to the college level, you know, coaches make the rules. They're the one that implements the rule changes. You know, they have a coaches committee. So just like they have one, I mean, you have one right here in your district. All you all need to get together, sign it, let them know what your demands or your requests, whatever the case may be. Show them some footage. If you need to, I'll show you how to write it and present it. Because, like I said, I've gone to the forefront. You know, I've spoken to Coach O about this already. You know, I've gone to the forefront. I've spoken to you about this as well. I put it in at the beginning of the year. I think that these things need to occur and these things need to happen. Okay? They somewhat did it. You're still not satisfied. Now it's your turn.
Man, appreciate you. We'll definitely do our part, man. I'm gonna pass it over to Coach O.
Yes, sir. Good questions answered there, man. We know we can get it straight. Transparency, there's that word again. It's key. And it's not to put a bad light on officials, but like I say, you guys do the job that I know I couldn't do. But at the same time, I want to piggyback on what you said earlier, which now explains to me a little bit more about you, is that you said you coached before. And being a coach before and doing a job where you're now being an official, now you get a better understanding on how the game should be called. The other thing, too, that comes up with that is that you notice that a lot of officials have a tendency, the ones that referee the game, had either played before, but that's not a lot of cases.
It is.
We would assume that they played before, but I think that if you coach before and you play before, and now you're an official, you have a better understanding on how to judge certain things. The other piece that I want to get into is, as well as my question, you being an educator, working in the school system, have taught before, seen kids, and I try me myself working in the school system and dealing with kids more than just on the court. I have a better understanding of not just my kids, but kids across the county and across our state, across the nation. well, a lot of kids deal with IEPs. And like I told one of the officials in one of the games before, is that you got to approach a kid a certain way. You know, and even as educators working in the school system, we understand that rule. You know, and the kids have IEPs and 504s and stuff like that. What can we do to get that information, if it's even needed? Because I was told that don't matter to me. He shouldn't be on the floor. But I think that's a disservice to the kid that worked hard in the classroom to get his grades. But what can we do to get that information? Because we know how delicate that information is as well. You know, so officials can know what they're working with and what type of student athletes they're working with as well.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I don't. I think I can point you in the right direction. A guy named Al Batista he will definitely point you in the right direction to get that taken care of. But
it's a need. It's definitely a need.
It's definitely a need. Because I've seen it out there. You know, it's easy for me to deal with because, like I said, I'm a teacher. I do this. Most officials on the college level, high school level, are either teachers, police officers, they work for the federal government, and it's one more that I'm forgetting about. Anyways, some other kind of service worker. But that's what most of us are. I would say about 70% of us.
Uh-huh.
So when it comes to dealing with kids, most of the time we're okay. But as far as that other information, I can't tell you, man.
Okay.
I can give you Al Batista's information, and he can probably get pointed to the higher ups. But other than that,
yeah, because it's just one of the things that I wanted to add in, because I know me personally, it's a difficulty trying to tell a kid, you know, don't pay it no attention, you know, and then you may say something to the kid that might trigger a reaction, you know. And then now we got a technical foul or an ejection, and now the kid is trying to get their explanation on what did I do and not understanding. So I definitely get it. I just think that it needs to be talked about a little bit more, because we deal with it in the school system so much, you know, with kids that may have those disabilities like that. So I just wanted to ask that question.
Earl Hawkins. Earl Hawkins would be the point of contact for that. Am I right? For this county. Isn't he the head of athletics?
Yeah.
Talk to Earl. Yeah, Earl. Earl's your man. And trust me, he'll get on it.
Right. I got you. I definitely appreciate it, man. So I'm going to pass the mic or the jump ball and get an assist over at Tobias Jennifer at Huntingtown High School. He's got a follow-up question for that as well.
What's going on, Aaron? It's me again. I heard you say that there's a need, or there's a shortage on referees throughout the state, I guess probably throughout the region, tri-state area, whatever you want to call it, DMV. So we know that we got referees working overtime and things of that nature. But I will say, growing up, I've refereed rec league games, and I got a couple of my players who actually referee rec league games like in the summer and things of that nature. So my question is, and I'm just hypothetically speaking, if at some point, if I wanted to become a ref, or if some of my players decided they wanted to become a ref at some point, and they have those ambitions, or maybe they're just a young ref altogether, and they want to become a ref at the high school, college level, do you have any advice or tips for a referee who wants to get into this job?
Definitely. We have some, first of all, you can always get in contact with me. I'm a good point of contact. Tito, whoever the commissioner is in your league, I think that you all should have some sort of relationship where you can have that open line of communication, so where you can get people in there, because you'll be surprised. Some people really do want to referee, and they're pretty solid people. You'll know them when you see them. You might want to recruit some people yourself. Yeah. A good, solid, well put together individual that can have a decent conversation, is clean cut, and speaks decently. I'm pretty sure we all know somebody, probably a family member like that. Those are going to be pretty good officials. Make some referrals. like I said, get in contact with your commissioner, send them to me. I'll point them in the right direction based on what area they're in. I'll tell them what's best for them, in my opinion. Hey, I think you need to go to MBOA. I need to go to 12. Come over here, 134. You need to go to 23. Where do you live? You know, where do you work? But I always send them my way, send them to the commissioner of your board. And there it is, man. It's not that difficult. IABO has www.iabo.org, mboa.org. Those are the websites, and you can just sign up yourself. Anybody can sign up.
So if I did want to become a ref, do you have any advice for me? Things I should probably look out for, things I should do.
Well, are you somewhat studious? And when I say somewhat studious, can you read and comprehend and be able to regurgitate and go out on the court and be able to apply that something?
I hope so.
Because it's not easy. You know, I'm going to go out there. I'm going to make it look so simple. But you're going to get there. I'm going to give you a recipe. You're going to tear it up. You're going to make it look so bad. For officials, I would say, if you were going to be a brand new official, I think that you need to start off early, man. Start off going to the Boys and Girls Club in your area. Make sure that you can get that right.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to read the rules, and I want you to aspire to be a JV high school basketball official. And then once you do that, I need you to aspire to be a high school basketball official, one of the better ones. And then once you start that process that way and start doing one at a time, it'll come together for you.
Yeah.
I would advise you to get your nutrition intact, because you gotta look like you know what you do. You can't be, kind of hefty out there tearing your body up and missing stuff.
Yeah.
Because you are. When you are that big and you get that old, you are missing stuff. And it is bad for everybody. So nutrition would probably be the second thing. The third thing, can you just be studious, man? Can you be a student of the game? I mean, you guys are students of the game. I see all you coaches are students of the game. I see all your paraphernalia in the background. I see all of it. You guys are students of the game. And once you become those things, you get your nutrition right, you become a student of the game and learn how to talk to people. And sometimes put yourself in some hot situations. I've been in some hot situations, man. My officiating has not always been great. It's always been good, but it has not always been good. My game management has not always been good. I would advise you to go in. One other thing is go and do some different basketball. And like, that's what all you guys say. You see me in different places. And I am a little bit of everywhere. And I do know the style of basketball. And I know what kind of games are going to go on. And sometimes if I see coaches and players and teams, hey, I already know what's going on. And it's going to be a little bit easier for everybody else. So last but not least, just be a student of the game.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate the insight. Definitely something that I've thought about, and just being honest, something that I've thought about as, and I know I've only been coaching a couple years, but, at some point, can't coach forever. And the next closest thing to it is definitely giving back and being a referee. And, that's definitely some things I'll take going forward, and, I'll pass along to whoever else needs that information. So I'm going to pass the rock back over to Coach O. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Thanks so much, Tobias, for that question, and Aaron for those answers. So, Aaron, what we're gonna do, what we usually do about this time before we close out, we give our speaker the opportunity to have the floor a little bit. I know some things that you want to get out there as well. So this is your opportunity to share those things with us. And
okay. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk to everybody about. I think that you all did a really good job of covering all that. There are some things I was going to talk about as far as bench decorum and uniforms and all that. I would say this. I think it's Coach Jennifer's question. I think it all begins, just some advice I'm going to give you. When someone enters your gym, they need to know where they're going. They need a point of contact. They need a clean place. When they go out to the clock, when we go out to the book, we need an adult at the table. We need the shot clock and game clock operating properly. If it's not, that's fine. Just let us know. Make sure your team is properly equipped. I don't want to talk to you about your uniforms. I don't want to talk to you about none of that. I just want you to come in to the game and ref the game. When it comes to your assistant coaches are there for the players. They are to help the head coach coach. They are to get on the players, in our opinion. because we don't necessarily have to have dialogue with the assistant coaches. So it's better when the assistant coaches address the issues. That's why I was talking about that whistle chart. When that assistant coach has that whistle chart and they give it to Coach O is going to have an intelligent conversation. And your reputation is going to precede you the next time officials come in there. Because I'm going to say, okay, you going over there with Coach O? Okay, you know what he's talking about. Okay, don't be in there and I know your rules this week. Because he's going to talk about you. So what I'm really trying to say is take care of the things that you can control. Control your kids on the sideline. Control your fans if you can. The biggest thing, though, is education. We have to, as the head coach, you have to educate yourself. And that goes back to what Coach Jennifer was just saying. He was thinking about being an official. I would tell everybody, go take the class. Sit down and take the referee class. When I was coaching, I sat down and I took that referee class. I came back, I was undefeated the next year. I knew the rules. I taught my kids how to play within the rules. I started using the language in the rule book. Officials started turning around and looking at me a little bit differently because they knew I knew what they knew, and it got them sharper. So education, I would think that education would probably be the bigger thing. If you all don't have a rule book, definitely get you a rule book. I'm pretty sure everybody has one of these, the handbook. And when you're in practice, coach from the rule book. If you're on the free throw line, go to rule 8, free throws. Tell them what free throws are. Make your students of the game. They will play better for you. I promise. I promise they will. When it comes to your cheerleaders, the cheerleading coaches, make sure, the only thing they have to do is make sure they are divided on the free throw lane area. What I would like to see is on the 60-second timeout, make sure the cheerleaders come out and cheer. That's the only time they're allowed out there anyway. I like the entire experience because, we're all out here for all the kids. So let those cheerleaders get out there for that experience, And then when it comes to,
I don't mean to cut you off. I got a question about the cheerleaders. I don't mean to cut you off.
Right.
I played in the SMAC championship this year against St. Charles. It was a hostile environment. The crowd was ruckus. It was crazy. It was a good environment for the kids to learn and for the fans to see, and even for everything all around. We had both sets of cheerleaders there. During a 60-second timeout, the cheerleaders got into the game, and they got going, and one of our cheerleaders backflipped all the way down the whole length of the court. And then right after that, one of St. Charles's cheerleaders did the same thing. The next timeout, I think it was the next 60-second timeout, it was another, full timeout. The referees pulled us and told us if the cheerleaders do it again, we're going to get a technical. Now, when you say we got to police the cheerleaders, I'm worried about the game. I'm worried about my team. I'm not worried about that. I can't control them. I can go over there and say, go stop flipping. So was that referee in the right to tell me next time this cheerleader crosses half court during a 60-second timeout, I'm going to get a technical? And now that will change the whole landscape of the game. Right. If I get a technical for a cheerleader showing, spirit, competition. So I just want to get your take on that. Do you think the referee had the right to say that, or, because it was no fight or nothing about to happen. It was just in the spirit of the competition in the game.
And you answered your own question with that. Was it in the spirit of competition of the game? When the girl flipped, when one girl went out there and flipped, did the other girl got flipped? Did she throw her head out, or did she say something to him? I think, in my opinion, that goes back to knowing all your rules and being ready in the gym. If it's a 60-second timeout and the teams are allowed to cheer, I think that you should be able to cheer on your half and one cheer on the other half. Now, I don't know all the rules as far as them going, back and forth. All I do know is that during the 60-second timeout, they are allowed to cheer. Now, as them going back and forth, you might want to police that. Now, that other part, that point of contact is going to be your game management. Most of the time, it's going to be your AD or your assistant principal. If it's not those two, it usually falls back on the head coach.
Yeah.
So that communication piece is going to be important for you when you're having that dialogue with your assistant coach or your AD. You may want to write something down on the index card. And that also goes for your announcer. There are certain things that they can and cannot say.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Now, and that probably pretty much is going to conclude. And I'm sorry. And the final thing is the table. Who is at the table? Now, I go to some schools. I already know where I'm going. I already know who's going to be there. When I go to Southern with Will, I already know Sheila going to be at the table. Am I right, Will? Sheila going to be at the table.
Definitely. On time, too.
Rule.
Yeah.
She know every rule. I already know I ain't going to have no problem with that. You know what I'm saying? The less problems that you all give us or that we have to encounter, the easier it is for the flow of the game completely. See, when the coaches are coaching and the players are playing, the cheerleaders are cheering, and and we don't have to check the score, and the foul count's about the same. The score is pretty much probably going to be about the same, too. We're going to be out the way, and y'all going to be coaching, everybody going to have a good time. So a lot of it is going to come back to you guys, like I said, on the coaches. Are you handling the kids? Are you handling your coaches? Is everything right where it needs to be? Is the X at the table? Do you have the possession arrow? Is it visible? Is the person out there doing it right? When you're clicking on all cylinders like that as a coach, when you come in there, you're going to shine, man. And we're going to know it. We know every time. When we're sitting right there, you know what? They together and they ain't. Look at them. They ain't even got the same color jersey. Take that T-shirt off. Take those sweatpants off. What are you doing? Take this out your ear. You know what I'm saying? Already. See, already. Started already. And after that, it pretty much, you know, you don't have the shirt tucked in when you're ready to play in the game. All those things, your kids need to be ready. And when they're not, I appreciate it in PG County because I've seen Coach O, I've seen Chuck do it. When they're not ready at the table, and I say they're not ready, he may go sit down. Because you're not ready. When you come in, I'll let you in the game, you still tuck your shirt and everything, you know what you do when you get in the game? Turn it over. Then you turn it over again, coach pull you right back out anyway. So I don't even let you in no more. You welcome, coaches. You welcome, coaches. You welcome. You welcome. Because you know what? When they come in the game, they're going to tear your game up. I don't even let them in. When they are not ready, I don't let them in. Because every time, that's what happens. Every time, they turn it over. Every time. Shooting air balls. That's it, man. That's all. That's all I really have to say. I mean, I think that you guys overall, you guys doing a great job here. I love coming to your gym, man. I love the game of basketball. I mean, can't wait till we start back up because I don't have nothing to do.
Yeah, who you telling?
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we definitely appreciate you as well. If that's it from all the coaches, man. Before we close out, I just want to touch on a couple things that when I jot down my notes is that we can get from this, and I know all the coaches are going to agree to this, is that communication, reputation is key. But without communication, we can't never clean up our reputation. You know, so a lot of people get this perceived thing coming into our gym as well that Coach O gonna ask a lot of questions. You daggone right.
Yeah.
You know, because I think as a basketball coach, it's not to question your calls, it's to question what type of calls will be made today. So some games it might be hand checked, some games it might be allowed. You know, it depends on who's officiating the game. So I speak for all the coaches. If we can get, and I know everybody will agree to this, if we can come some way, and that explains to why when we request Chuck, or all the time we always request on our coaches meeting about knowing who's going to officiate our games before they walk in the gym, because that can help me out on a practice day. But we never get that request answered because now we know that the schedules are not, you know, it's not out there like that. And you usually get games that's closer to your area for that reason, which makes sense, you know, for travel and everything like that. So, I mean, that'll be great. And then also, too, I want to ask you, during the season, we had, I don't know what they call that sheet in coaches in Prince George's County. You can help me out. After the game was over with, like the first couple of weeks, I saw this sheet. And it was talking about the coaching, the crowd, and all that. That was great. But can we please, to the people out there in the world that's listening, we need that for officials as well, because I don't like to always complain about officials. I want to also say, great job. Mm-hmm. Hey, man, this guy, number 3, he did an awesome job, man. And those things, to me, helps out the transparency, not just for that guy now that coached the JV game. Now you're seeing him move up because his rankings, his ratings are starting to elevate himself throughout his career of being an official. So I would think that would be both sides, you know, to have some type of thing like that. What do you think about that?
Well, that's the first thing I talk about on the whistle chart.
Mm-hmm.
If I can find one, you can remind me. I can find you a whistle chart. So you get that whistle chart, and you probably have 3 different markers, or have one marker and put different names, so you can start getting that whistle chart on that official. All right, that'll be the first thing that's going to be good for you. You know what I'm saying? That's going to give you some. That's going to give you some data. That's going to give you some validity. It's going to say, you know what? I've done my job. You know what? I've sent in film. I've talked to you on the phone. But you know what? Here's the whistle chart. They call them fouls right here. It's the same ones over and over and over and over and over. And then that's going to give you some different verbiage and language. It's going to make, it's going to make them do their job. Now, I will tell you, when you get that whistle chart, it is not designed for you to. That's an immediate technical foul. You know what I mean? That's not what it's designed for. No. It's designed to help the assistant coaches, so they don't know how to call plays. I'll be honest with you. Sometimes it'll be good for. So, like I said, when you have those complaints, send them on in. Send that whistle chart on in, man. And you may want to see somebody move up, and they're not moving up. Like, I was one of those guys at PG County for the first 3 years. I wasn't even getting varsity. They were giving me girls games, girls JV and girls varsity sometimes, man. And I was just sitting there. People were like, why are you not in my gym? I'm like, I don't know. So once again, Coach O, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it back on y'all, man.
Well, I definitely appreciate it. I mean, we take it, we got it. As coaches, we're doing this show for the coaches, by the coaches, to get better as coaches. Whether it's X's and O's, whether it's the rules of the game, things that we should know, and that's why we're doing this, because these questions are being asked amongst our group chat, but they're not being able, it's no platform for us to actually get these questions out there in a meeting, because with 60 other coaches in an arena or in an office building or in the classroom, now you start bouncing stuff off, and now we get nowhere. We get nowhere with our things. So we definitely appreciate you. And from the coaches show to you, we want to say thank you. We're going to close out. We're going to make sure that everybody understands out there, for the coaches, by the coaches. We ask the questions we think that the people should know. So we thank you so much for coming out today.
Man, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you all.
Appreciate you, man.
Amazing.